I don't know if you have already read the toolkit. How many of you have seen the toolkit already? You can be honest, and there's no right or wrong question. It's just to know how much you already know about what we are going to talk about, so I can go deeper, or maybe let's see. Please raise your hands if you have. Anyone? No one? No problem. Okay. Oh, you have, Christine.
I have also read it. Hi, I'm Ani.
Hello, you did your homework. Good. Okay, no problem. It's just for me to have an idea of how much you know about the topic we are going to talk about. So as Naila was saying, the toolkit covers 4 main blocks, and we are going to talk about the first one, which is sustainable business models. Naila, if you can go to the next one, please. The intention of this workshop, let me make this bigger because I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, so the intention of this workshop is to learn about sustainable program portfolios. Then today we are going to give a closer look to sustainable business models. We want to discover learnings, recommendations. So you are all invited to step in and interrupt me if you want to share your experiences, make questions, because we want this to be profitable to everyone. Though I'm not giving a lecture, but just share with you what we've learned in our community sessions. Reflect together and share experiences, and identify actions points to make us develop better program portfolios. So if you move to the next one, please, Naila. I have an issue with my computer. I can't move the... Give me 1 second, please. Okay, so the next slide, Naila, please. Naila is making the presentations because I wasn't
exactly. Let me know.
Okay, let me see. Oh, sorry, I can see what you... Oh, no, I can't. Okay. Oh, yeah. So I wanted to make a quick round to get to know you a little bit. Hi, Lucia. I see you. I know you. I see some familiar faces. It's good to have you here. Thank you for joining us. I just want us to have a quick round saying your name, the Impact Hub you're representing, and your role, just also to make sure, not before. Yeah, there we are. Just for us to have an idea of the roles we have in this session, because some people might work more with business development, others might be already leading portfolio teams, or still maybe more dedicated to project management. So I just don't want to have an idea of the roles, so we can also emphasize or skip a few of the topics and concentrate on what is relevant to everyone. So since I'm seeing Lucia right now, can I start with you, Lucia, and then you can invite someone else to go up when you're done. Thank you.
Yes, sure. Hello again. So I'm here representing Impact Hub Global, and I work as a program manager. I know we met when I was in Bucharest. Yeah.
Yes. So I was happy to see you.
Yes, glad to see you too. And passing on to Hermes, Zagreb.
Yeah, thank you very much. So Hermes Arriaga here, co-founder and director of the Impact Hub in Zagreb. I'm in the business development side. We are currently running 5 programs, and it's always nice to see some things new. I'm here out of curiosity. Let's pass.
I'm sure a lot to share with us as well from your experience.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me pass it to Ayesha. I think that's the pronunciation. Thank you.
Hi, thanks, Hermes. My name's Aisha. I'm from Impact Hub Global, and I'm the Global Programs Operations Specialist. I'm here to learn more about the toolkit and see what everyone else's input is from it. Passing on to Christine.
Yes, hi, Christine from Impact Hub Global as well. I'm the Impact Management Lead, and as such, I'm really interested as well in seeing what's happening on the program side, and particularly like this sustainable programs portfolio. And seeing just what comes out of this session that is in addition to what's in the really cool toolkit that you guys created. Let's pass it on to Teresa.
Hi, Hi, everyone. Good morning here in Montevideo, Uruguay, Latin America. This is Teresa Pérez del Castillo, a co-founder of Impact Hub Montevideo. We've started running the hub around 5 months ago, so we are beginning with one consultancy, one program, like just on the very start. So this I found this as a very good learning opportunity to see how to develop further programs ahead. Thanks, Marina, and everyone for the meeting.
Thank you, Teresa. Nice to see you. Are we missing anyone? I think everyone has presented themselves. Yes, perfect. Good. So thank you so much. I see we have a very good mix of roles and maybe states of in terms of where the portfolios are. Let's go into it. So
Marina, 1 second. We have DJ raising her hand.
oh, hi DJ. Sorry, did we miss you? I'm sorry. Hi. We can hear you. You're muted.
My name is TJ. I'm from Impact Hub Yerevan. I'm one of the programs managers here, and I will be transitioning into a portfolio manager soon. So I'm very interested to learn more.
Perfect. Thank you, TJ. Okay, so Naila, we can move to the next slides, please. I also want to present myself a little bit, not just so you can know why am I here, because I think I bring different perspectives. I've been working for Impact Hub Madrid for 5 years now, so I've had different roles through those years. I've been a portfolio manager, so I was in charge of coordinating all the entire portfolio at that moment. At that moment, we had about 20 to 25 projects per year, so you have an idea of how it was. We would double. Now we have double this size. Now we have around 40 projects, 42 projects this last year, or this running year actually. Then I also work as business development manager, and now I'm a sector lead. I'm responsible for consultancy on communities and ecosystems. And I'm saying that because I was asking myself, why am I doing this presentation? Well, how much do I have to share with you? And first of all, I've participated in the community of practice, and this is my background. So I think I can bring different perspectives. And I think it's very important that we are aware that everybody in the team, regardless the role, has or can be important to build a sustainable program portfolio. So if you're a project manager implementing one project, you still can be open to new opportunities, commercial opportunities, or you can keep track on your KPIs that will be helpful to expand your portfolio. There are many different ways to contribute to a portfolio. We'll see that further, but I just wanted you to know what my background is and the different perspectives I will bring to the presentation or to the session. Okay, so let's move forward. To the next slide, please, Naila. When I was preparing the presentation, I was looking for the proper order for us to discuss further on portfolio programs, and I wanted to first start with a definition that I like very much. That is that. Let me see. Well, sorry, I'm seeing so little that I can't read. So I hope you all agree that a portfolio management is the selection, prioritization, and control of an organization's programs and projects in line with its strategic objectives, financial goals, and capacity to deliver. Are we on the same page with that definition? I think that's important because we are going to see the different layers that build a portfolio. And I wanted to start from the big picture. And talking about picture, I didn't choose this one randomly. I wanted to make an analogy that I think that a portfolio is the forest, and then the projects are the trees that conform the forest. And we all want the forest to look like this, like very green and live and full with different shades of greens and very vibrant. And I think that's also what we look for our portfolios from a overview perspective. So I'm going to divide the session into looking into the projects individually and how they contribute individually to the portfolio. And then we'll have a more holistic view on how the portfolio should look like and what requirements should be met for a sustainable portfolio. If we are good with that, let's go to the next one, Nyla, please. And then I'll share with you in the chat the link to a Miro board. Let me see if I can get this right. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Right. Let me share this link with you. I don't know if you all know Miro, but you only have to click in the link. I'm sharing. There you go. If you just click on the link, you'll be led to a Miro board with a very easy activity just for us. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Mike. And I just wanted you to grab a Post-it, any color, and then put it on this scale that I have created, where you find your Impact Hub now in terms of building a portfolio. For example, TJ was telling us, Teresa was telling us that she has a brand new Impact Hub in Montevideo, and she's just starting. So I think maybe she's gonna be somewhere on this tiny little tree we have here. You don't have to be precise. You can be in between 2 stages. This is just for us to have an idea of about this, where we are as a group. So are you just starting to build a portfolio? I use low but speeding. You already have 2 or 3 or maybe 4 projects that you've been running for a while and you have done it more than once. Are you growing fast? So are you seeing more and more opportunities to replicate programs you've done before? Are you growing the variety of your portfolio, bringing more programs and projects to offer your clients? Are you applying to more public fundings recently? Or can you say you already have a portfolio? Zagreb, I think, already has a portfolio, for example. Global, I know you're so advanced. You invest in so many different things. So just want to know more or less where we are as a group, because we might have experienced different things in different stages, because we learned a lot in the process from the beginning until building a more consolidated portfolio. Let's see. And our scaling, love that. Never big enough. Zagreb is growing fast. Don't worry about putting your. It's good to know, but you don't have to say which Impact Hub are you. I mean, if you don't want to, no problem. Just put the Post-it, and you know someone is slow but speeding or growing fast. Have we all? I think we had more than one representation from global, right? So that's maybe why we have less Post-its than people. And one missing? Good.
No, I think we're good.
We're good? Good,
Yeah.
good. So, so
If I go
most
back
of
to the slides, do you see the slides?
yeah, I see this slide. Thank you. Perfect. So most of us already have a consolidated portfolio, which is very good. And then we can share experiences while we go through the insights from the toolkit. Let me go back to What you can move this. Okay, so if we go to the next slide.
Yeah, I'm there already. Do you see it?
Yeah, thanks. So if you go to the next slide, then we invite you to have a look on the project's perspective. Like, let's see our trees. What do we have or what we should have? So from the learnings from the community of practice, what we have learned is that there are a few requirements that must be met to guarantee a financially sustainable project that, of course, will impact the portfolio, right? So here I highlight a few of them, and we can dedicate a couple of minutes on each of them and discuss a little bit if you want to. So one thing that's fundamental is to dedicate time to prepare a realistic budget. How much does it cost? It's important because sometimes, especially if we are slow but speedy, we think we know how much it costs. Sometimes we say an acceleration program might cost, I don't know, just give a random number, 60,000 euros, because that's how much it costed last year. But we don't dedicate the time to do a realistic budget and know how much it would cost today with the team we have today. And this can be a mistake because we might underestimate the cost of it and not guarantee the margin we would like to have for the program. So take some time and dedicate in the preparation of a realistic budget. And one thing that's very important is to have into consideration the overheads. The ones who have more consolidated portfolio might already know what that is. I don't know if everyone knows what that is, but the overhead refers to the ongoing business expenses, not directly attributed to the project. For instance, the marketing expenses, advertising expenses, rent, utilities, business licenses, all those costs that incur and for Impact Hub and should be diluted within the program portfolio. This is very important to know because it has a real impact on your margin and, of course, on your portfolio. It might not be an easy task to do, but it's very important. And it shouldn't be over 25% of the budget. This is more or less how much it should represent out of the budget of a project. If you can make it less, better, you can have a better margin. But over 25% of the budget, then we could say it's kind of a red line you shouldn't cross.
But I don't know how you want to handle questions, but Hermes was asking in the chat, how do you manage to keep good margins on local projects? Because yeah, I mean, many impact hubs find it very hard.
Yeah, margins is the second point of the musts of the project. So make sure it has a good margin. If you ask me what's a good margin, that's very hard to answer because it depends on a lot of things. It depends on how much the project costs. It depends on how much your clients are willing to pay, how much projects like this are sold from your competitors. So you need to know more or less how the market works. Because of course we want to have the highest margins and add on 50% of margin over the budget. But is that reasonable? Will your clients be willing to pay that much? And also, what are your financial goals? So if you have ambitious goals, then you might have to increase your margins. But if you have a reasonable goal and if you can split the margins among different projects, then you may be able to lower a little bit of the margin, but improve it along the year with other projects, or maybe distribute them more evenly among the projects you are selling. So it's not an easy question to answer, and it has to do with having a look at more holistically what are the I'm looking for the right word, but the circumstances or the context of your Impact Hub at the moment. I know it might not answer directly the question, but it's because I don't know if anyone wants to share its experience or has any other advice. The important thing that came out from the community of practice is that projects have to have good margins, and good margins should be good contributions to the entire portfolio towards reaching the financial goals of the area. Does anyone wants to add something to that?
Hermes has his hand raised, so
yeah. So thank you. So just give a bit of a perspective of, or maybe a point of view. I also think that the circumstances that you are talking about, Marina, are related to the source of the funding. There are some funds that might be more beneficial from the margin point of view, and yeah, indeed, it's related to your cost structure. And the bigger the funder, the more opportunities you have, because you might be able to deliver at that level, especially if you are applying from global, or it's a cluster of different impact hubs, for example. So depending on the size, I was just wondering, at the local level or at the regional level, when the funders are not a lot, especially in our region, how much of a good margin is. We don't really do a lot when we apply it locally, but when we apply it internationally with bigger funds, then the different thing happens, right?
Yeah, right. We'll see further. We'll talk a little bit about different forms of fundings, and that also has some impact in margins. We'll see that public fundings usually have less margin or lower margins, and then private ones gives it more space for margins. We see how we can make wise use of that. But I agree with you. It also depends on who your funder is, and if you are part of a consortium and will have a share of the budget, or if you are alone running the project, then you can maybe use your expenses as you wish, more freely, and then increase your margin. So there are a lot of variables that you have to take into consideration. But the important thing is that you have a real budget, you know how much your project costs, then you're able to estimate the margin, you are able to add on to the costs and try to guarantee you can keep that towards throughout the implementation of the project. Okay, so the other point is to make sure now to be aware of how much each project contributes to the portfolio. So this has to do with the margin we are talking about. So how much each project contributes, and let's think something out of margin that's very important as well, because we know sometimes we say yes to projects that are not necessarily profitable. I'm sure many of you have been in the position of saying, yes, let's do this for free this time, and then we can charge the next time. Let's do this for free because this client's a very good client and might open new opportunities for us in the future. Or it will bring us visibility and might bring new leads. So there are many reasons why we say yes to projects that are not necessarily financially healthy. And that's okay. If you trust it's a good decision, it's a strategic decision, but we need to be aware of if it is helping or may be hurting our portfolio. If you want to, we need to have a sustainable perspective in mind. So be aware if the project you are running, you decided to say yes to, will help or may hurt your portfolio. Isn't that right? And sometimes we have to say yes to projects that we've had that experience a few times before, and I wonder if you have also been into that situation. So this is something it's important to take into consideration. The other thing is to keep track on its financial performance during its implementation. I've seen we've made that mistake before, that we feel we're doing the right thing. We kind of know we're doing the right thing, so we just stop to look on how the cash flow of the project is going afterwards or by the end of the project, and that can be a big mistake because it prevents you from acting in case something is going out of the way. For example, if the team is struggling and implementing a task that usually they do easily, but at this time, for some reason, or for some constraints, or for some reason they're taking more time. If you don't realize that during if that's affecting the budget of the project, you don't realize that in time, then you're not able to act and correct it and avoid that the margin will drain afterwards and have bad surprises in the future. So it's very important to know how the finance of the project is going during the project, like to be aware of how is your cash flow going. The next point is choose wisely. And good projects or no projects. That has a lot to do with what I was talking about previously about saying yes to projects that not necessarily are profitable, but at least they should be aligned with the purpose of Impact Hub, or with the strategy we have into entering a new market, or it has to be a good project, not only financially but also aligned with purpose and with the strategy of the area of the Impact Hub. So we think that's very important. We'll have a deeper look on that in the following slides, because I brought an exercise for us to reflect on. Any comments on that? Do you miss anything, or have you experienced any of these issues on your Impact Hubs? Would anyone like to share any insights about that? Does that make sense? Is that helpful? Let's see. Anyone? Teresa, is that helpful for you that's beginning a new Impact Hub? Yeah? Have you run any projects yet?
We are starting right in this fourth trimester of the year. We are starting with a program that we got a lot of alliances but little money, but the alliances are good as a starting point. So we are developing a program that's specific for women entrepreneurs that would like to transform their businesses to impact businesses, and we are developing it together with the biggest women organization in Uruguay. So we are not earning a lot of money with that, but it's good to have something in the floor.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Good. That's good to hear. That's exciting. Thanks for sharing.
It is, and now we got there's a EU financed. So thanks for our European brothers and sisters. There's a EU financed program that's gonna also support the program, and so we will be able to do some because the program was supposed to be like online program, but now we thanks to this support from the European Union and that's a program they have here for entrepreneurship, we will be able to develop some face-to-face
That's good. That's good.
and networking. So
Yeah, and stay tuned, because European funding has a lot of restrictions. And
Yeah.
you have a lot of experts here, like Hermes or Annie or Lucia and Marina.
Yeah, I've worked for the UN in a EU finance program, like three years and 6 countries in Latin America. So it was hard to deal with the European Union, but they still do very nice things. So
Yeah, it helps.
and we need their money.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thanks for sharing. So let's move on to saying the portfolio. Okay, so we had a look on the projects, how what requirements they should match to be healthy and to make a real contribution to the portfolio. Let's see now how the portfolio should look like. So as for the portfolio, no, go back. I'm sorry. Yeah, perfect. Thanks. I'm with double screen, so I'm a bit confused. I'm sorry about that, guys. Okay, so musts of the portfolio. Let's start with defining your financial goals, but also your position statement. So how can we know that the portfolio is sustainable and healthy if we don't know our financial goals? So this is a starting point. We need to know where we want to get and what is our position statement? What is our value proposition? What do we do or what would you like to be recognized for? So those two things we think it has to be aligned. The other thing is effective resource management. Use resources efficiently, consider your time constraints and overlapping priorities. And here, this is something that's not in the toolkit, but I wanted to add about the liquid teams, explaining to you. So, at least in Impact Hub Madrid, we have our team have different roles in different projects. So sometimes I'm leading a project, sometimes I'm hands-on and I'm the project manager. At the same time, I'm opening conversations and trying to bring commercial opportunities. So I'm working as a business developer. And all of this has to do with the helping and contributing to the portfolio. But the important thing here is to make sure your team is on its highest efficiency, contributing to their best. So this is one thing we think is very important for the portfolio, because if you have a team that's not contributing, or it's not appropriately busy with the project, then it can affect your portfolio overall. So no, I'm still on the first one. Sorry. Yeah, so the next point would be aim on the hanging fruits and prioritize projects based on your ability to implement them. So the ones who have already a more consolidated portfolio might already know this, but it's very important that you start doing what you do best and focus on programs that you have already implemented before. This helps you, and this helps you is also to be able to standardize for cost efficiency and make elements modular, repackaging them for each client instead of customizing a project for each client, because that requires a lot of effort and a lot of dedication, and the results are not guaranteed. So going for the hanging fruits means identify the most valued contracts and try to sell them again and again. And maybe also think of the programs that have been sold more than 3 times before, for example, because those are often easier to capitalize on. So this is something that helps you advance your portfolio, like running over and over again the same project, improving the process so you can become more efficient and then increase your margin. So it's a good way to start. And then over the time, you'll be able to maybe working with modules, configure the programs in a different way, and even taking a step forward into making more customized projects for each client. And why not build customized programs for every client? Because it's likely that it will take much more time for your team to design something that's new from scratch, and the results are not guaranteed. And if the margin is not guaranteed, maybe you're going to be wasting the time of developing it. And then the next client, you're going to do that all over again, beginning from scratch, and it's a lot of effort that you lose on the way. So focus on the hanging fruit. We'll see next how we can prioritize the tool that we've recommended on the toolkit, and we are going to have a closer look at that. I need to speed a little bit because I'm concerned about time. Then, yeah. Okay. So the last one is don't put all eggs in one basket and prevent from financial dependency. So to explain that, I'll let this one for further, because we're going to talk about the different kinds of funds, and I think that's where it fits better. It's like not depending on only one form of funding and sticking for diversity. It's the recommendation. We will see that further. So Naila, if you don't mind, we can go to the next one, please.
Yeah, there you are.
Thank you. So one of the tools we recommend on the toolkit is using this matrix. This matrix is called effort impact matrix. It helps prioritizing the program and the projects we should go for. It's quite simple and quite friendly, but then we'll see variations of it. And I wanted to provoke a little bit of reflection on how we can better position programs into each of the squares. So the low quadrant of the square on the bottom left, it represents the small incremental improvements to the product. So those are the ones that are low effort, low impact. So we should give them some attention to see if we can make them move to the easy wins, right? Make them improve their impact because they are low effort. So it's a good fill in. It's good to have them there. Then on the opposite side, we have the high combination, the bigger projects that promise major returns. These are the big bets, the ones that the ambitious teams like to take on, but they're risky at the same time, right? Then we have the red quadrant. Those are the ones we don't want to go to because they are probably not guaranteed in returns, and these are the quadrants we shouldn't look for. These are the projects we should put to the side. And the green square are the hanging fruits I was talking about, the ones we should go for, the ones that we are more comfortable doing, the ones we know how to do. We've implemented it before. We know how much it costs. We know how to do it. Okay. But then, please, Nyla, if you can go to the next one. So this is more or less how it should look like, right? We should have a few projects on the easy win square. We should have a few on the incremental square, and we also should have a few on the big bets. Not too many because those are risky, and you have to really understand what the trade-off is. Right? So the ideal thing would be to create a mix of incremental and big bets, right? Because you can add value to the incremental ones, and you can also step forward to a few big bets and keep running your easy wins. Is that making sense? Yeah?
Just one question, Marina, perhaps I missed it, but when you mean impact, it's like triple impact, or are you speaking about like our earnings or how many people we are hitting with the program, or it's in general?
Yeah, it's in general, because of course, then it will help you to make a decision if it's a go or no go for the project. So if it has a high impact on your financial goals, then it's a go. But also if on top of that, it has high impact on impact-driven projects that you're looking for because it's aligned to your strategy, it's also a go. So then you can work to measure what's more relevant to you, depending on the projects. Yeah. One thing is we need to be careful, is because we have a tendency to underestimate time and complexity. So we think, oh, that's not hard to do, this project. So this idea is a good one because we can easily do it. We underestimate how much time it takes to implement the project and also the complexity of it. And on the other hand, we overestimate the impact. We think we can charge a lot for that project, or we think we'll have a very high impact-wise, triple impact, as you meant. So we need to use the most reliable data and background and analysis to make more accurate estimations, because this matrix is talking about the future, and the future is always a projection, or what might be, it's not a certain thing. So it's something we have to consider and be cautious and be conservative on those predictions, right? If we go to the next one, Nyla, please. So this is how it actually may look like. And this is something we not always consider. If we start with the first matrix with the colorful squares, that's fine. It's a really helpful tool. And we can just stay there and try to position our projects on that matrix. But it's good to think a little bit deeper and consider that reality might look more like this. And the easy wins are not too many. And the big bets are not too many either. And we are most likely to hit is the money bit. And then if we go to the next slide, please, Naila. If we compare to where we have positioned our projects, it can turn out that one project that we thought was a money bit, was a big bet, actually is a money bit. And then one of the projects that we thought was incremental actually brings us loss. Do you see the difference? Does that make sense? So we need to be realistic on where we are positioning the projects and why we should go or not go to implementing a project, considering that our estimations may be wrong. So the message here is, and we can then go to the next one, Ayla, which is another colorful one. That's the conclusion. That's more real life. So the message here is realistic budgets. Try to base decisions on real data that you have from past projects. And don't be neither too optimistic with results, nor with our capability to implement the project. And then we can come to a very real scenario that can help us make decisions about going or not going with projects that come our way. This is important because it's very likely that opportunities are driven more by, or our decisions are driven more by opportunities that come our way than by our strategic goals. Not always we can decide which projects we are running. It's more likely that we apply for this project because a next generation program came and someone invited us to be part of the consortium, right? So, or because in an event, in a conversation with a company, we have identified an opportunity and we want to design something for him because we think we're able to. So that's a big bet. But we want to do it because I have found an opportunity. I want to go for it. So it's more likely that the portfolio is created from the opportunities that arise from the outside than from what we want to build from the inside out. If you go to, does that make sense? Do you want to make any comment on that? Because that's a tool that is recommended on the toolkit. When you see it, it's there. And I think it's very helpful to bring to the ground where you are in terms of portfolio mapping, what programs you have, what are your hanging fruits, what are your big bets, and how much are you willing to go for the big bets. And also be realistic, identify the projects that you've done before and were not as profitable as you wished, or you should not be running it again. And it should maybe give space to your team to invest in other commercial opportunities.
Hermes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Marina. I think, I believe one of the things that is most of the time not really analyzed is our own internal capacity, right? And not only, it's mainly the one related to your delivery, because as you say, we can sometimes select certain projects that we cannot deliver properly, and that will be hitting us even more in the long term. So having the capacity to self-assess your own assets, it's very important. And in the very beginning, in our case, we didn't know 10 years ago when we opened, we didn't know anything about designing or delivering programs. Now we really know what we can do, what we cannot do, and we rather deliver and focus on the things that we are very good at, and the others we outsource. Another thing that maybe is important, I don't know if you mentioned it, it's we prefer to better have a smaller team that is very good on the delivery, setting our own internal processes and energies in developing our capacity, and then we can upsell or resell rather than starting from scratch or bringing expertise every time, different expertise from a different program, because that's costly. And so maybe try to sell as much as you can within your capacity, and your expertise might also be taken into account. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, totally. It's very important to be aware of your capacity and the team you have, because otherwise you can, yeah, exactly as you said. Sometimes it's wiser to outsource than to go for a big bet and develop something yourself that you're not sure you're going to deliver with the quality you would like to. Totally agree with that.
Yeah, and for that, come to Melanie's session on capacity planning.
Yes,
because that's
well.
I mean, at least for me, was a big learning curve when I was local programs director, and I never knew if next year I was going to deliver 15 projects or 20 or 5, and it's different globally because we have a little bit of a linear structure, so I have more flexibility. But like locally, with local rules and regulations and employment laws, once you hire a person, you need to have you need to keep them. So when is the right time to hire? So that's a good topic for the next session. But now, Marina, we only have 5 minutes left, so I took the liberty to jump on to the different types of funding and maybe close.
Yeah, that's very important. I wanted to get there because I think it's one point that people have a lot of questions to. So on the community of practice, we have talked about a lot about different forms of fundings, and here I brought what I thought was the most important points from public fundings and private fundings, pros and cons, right? The advantages and the drawbacks of it. So it's important to take into consideration that public funding usually takes longer time to be approved, and requires a lot of dedication on proposals, so sometimes even a month of dedication of proposals. So it's a lot of time of your team dedicated to building a proposal that might be approved or not. So you have to take that into consideration. Also, the budget requires a detailed report on expenses, and that limits a little bit the margin potential, because you have to give evidence of everything you were expending and all the costs of the project. And usually they do not allow to big margins because they are public funding, so they're not to give a profit, but for bigger goal and impact, so the margin are quite slow. On the other hand, they can be very predictable. So some projects are long-term projects, multi-year projects, and you can get guaranteed incomes every 3 months or every 6 months, and it's good to have some fixed and predictable incomes throughout a multi-year project. That's helpful to balance your cash flow and to give you a long-term perspective. It can also contribute to the strategy, because usually they are very tactical, so it's usually very aligned to what we do as a hub. And two other things I like very much about working in public with public funding, some of them allow to work via consortium. We've done that with Lucia once when she wasn't, and many other impact hubs and other organizations, and that gives us a lot of learning opportunities from the partners as well, which can help us become or develop more muscles and even abilities to implement different projects or in different ways, and that can also contribute to the portfolio overall. Looking for the private fundings, so corporate fundings can be quite quicker to get. The duration of the projects vary a lot. Can be a multi-year project, or it can be just a 3 months or 6 weeks project. So it's easier to get, and you can just fill in your fiscal year with different projects along the year. It's much more flexible in terms of how the money is spent, because usually you sell the results. So the way you spend the money, it's more or less up to you. So if you're more efficient, then you can increment your margin. That's a good thing, which doesn't happen with the public funds. And and it allows for more higher margin. You decide the margin. If it's a public fund or if it's a bid, you don't really control how much margin you get. You have to deliver everything they ask for, and the margin is what it is. While in the private, if you design a proposal for a corporation, you can add the margin you want, considering all we have discussed, but it allows us for higher margins. And also you, with corporates, you have much more opportunities to resell and upsell. Of course, you can do a second edition of the program, or you can start selling a scouting process, and then you can make a hackathon, and then you can make the incubation or the acceleration, so you can scale up the proposal. And of course, the sweet spot for this is finding the balance. So we saw that a balanced mix seems to be the financially healthiest combination, and diversification of programs type is also important to cultivate, because if you only have one service, if you only do incubation, maybe that would not fit to the public offers or funding opportunities you have. So the more you can offer a variety of programs, then the bigger are the possibilities of getting funding for your programs. And then I'll still have 3 minutes, don't want to stop, but just a few recommendations. If we can go to the next slide, please, Nyla. Just a few more recommendations that came up from the sessions we had in the community of practice, that it's very important to make the effort to have a pipeline for the following fiscal year. This helps alleviate the anxiety of how is my following year going to be. So especially now that we are in September, we have still 3 months to go. It's very important to fill in the pipeline for the next year, to begin the year with the trust that you will have income and revenues guaranteed for the next year. Another thing that is very relevant is to implement a strong impact management system. So data is important. We all know that, and it's very powerful to building a sustainable portfolio, because over time, if you understand your strengths and the impact your project have, you can have to bring that to sales conversations, and also with the evidence of your impact, other organizations will find you, and you will attract more aligned corporations and organizations that want to partnership with you or fund your projects. And last but not least, communicate your value proposition clearly. What do you do? What is your purpose? Value proposition, again, will attract and generate a network aligned with what you do with our organization, and that, of course, will help us have a more sustainable